I'd like to call this meeting of the Woonsocket City Council to order for Monday, June 6, 2022. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoia.
Here.
Councilwoman Gonzalez. Here. Councilman Gillette.
Here.
Councilwoman Sierra.
Here.
Councilman Susi.
Here.
Councilman Ward.
Here.
President Gendron.
Here, could you please stand for the prayer and the pledge?
God our Father, we ask that you send your blessing upon this city and upon this council. Guide us in our efforts, increase our motivation, and strengthen our resolve to build a better community and ensure a brighter future for the city of Woonsocket. This we ask in your name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is a public hearing on the transfer of a Class A liquor license from Champs Liquors Keyway LLC to Gurudev Champs LLC DBA Champs Liquors at 481 Clinton Street. Is there anyone that would like to speak for or against this application? All right, hearing none, I would ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Jim.
Motion made by Councilman Canoia.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Sierra and Councilman Ward to close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it and the public hearing is closed. Agenda for Board of License Commissioners.
22 LC 19, transfer application of Class A liquor license from Champs Liquors Keyway LLC to Gurudev Champs LLC, doing business as Champs Liquors at 481 Clinton Street.
Motion approved.
Motion made by Councilman Canoia.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Sierra and Councilman Ward. Comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sorry, we're late on our item.
Opposed? Hearing none. All those, in 22 LC 19 is approved 7-0.
22 LC 20, application of licenses and renewal of licenses.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Councilwoman Gonzalez.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Susi and Councilman Canoia. Comments? I would ask if somebody could go through and just enumerate the, or I can do it. It's new street vendor license, renewals for holiday sales, quarterly entertainment, and street vendor license. Any other comments? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And 22 LC 20 is approved 7-0.
22 LC 21, a request of Woonsocket Firefighters Association, local number 732, to hold a tag day on Saturday, August 27th, 2022, with a rain date of Saturday, September 10th, 2022.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilman Ward.
Council President,
Yeah.
we noticed that there's a,
Conflict?
yes.
Yes.
on
So,
the September 10th date.
yep, once we get the, we got a motion by Councilman Ward,
Second?
seconded by Councilwoman Gonzalez. On the motion for, or the request for that application, there is currently a tag day being held on September 10th, 2022. Is there anyone here representing the firefighters? Chief, do you know, we won't be able to have that as their rain date, so we could go we could go on the Sunday if they would prefer?
That should be fine.
So change it to the 11th? Okay, can I have a motion to amend?
Jim.
Motion made by Councilman Canoia.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Sierra to amend 22 LC 21 to change the rain date to September 11th. On the motion to amend, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22 LC 21 is amended 7-0. On the main motion as amended, Councilman...
I voted nay.
Oh, I'm sorry, let the record reflect that Councilman Gillette voted no on the amendment. On the main motion as amended, comments? I will simply say, as is my practice with every tag day, I will be voting no, not because it's anything to do with this particular organization or their campaign, but I do not support tag days at all. So I will be voting no on this application. Any other comments?
Mr. President,
Councilman Gillette.
I've been voting no for the past, I don't know how many years on tag days, so just for the sole purpose that I disagree with them, number one, if they have another kind of a fundraiser, I'd be glad to attend. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoia?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
No.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
No. And 22 LC 21 is approved as amended 5-2. Public comment. I would ask if there's anyone here that would like to address the City Council that you'd please approach the podium, adjust the microphone so that we can hear you, and state your name and address for the record. Obviously, we ask that you keep your comments in good taste and under 5 minutes. Is there anyone that would like to address the City Council? Hearing none, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Councilwoman Gonzalez, seconded by Councilman Canoyer to receive the consent agenda. Are there any items to be taken up separately? Hearing none on the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the ayes have it, and the consent agenda is approved as received 7-0. On the approval and correction of the minutes of the regular meeting held May 16th and the special meeting held May 31st, 2022, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilman Ward.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Sierra. Are there any changes or corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And the minutes of the regular meeting held May 16th and the special meeting held May 31st are approved 7-0 as presented. Moving on to presentations of petitions.
Council
Do you wanna-
President?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to speak under Rhode Island General Law 4246-6 regarding two topics. The first one is the skate park located at the Susan Menard Middle Schools. And the second item is the building, the historical building that's located on the side of the middle schools on Hamlet Ave.
We have a motion to add to the agenda for discussion purposes only by Councilwoman Sierra. Do we have a second by Councilman Canoyer?
Thank you.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And go ahead, Councilwoman, for discussion purposes only.
Thank you very much. I wanted to follow up on a meeting that we had back in November 1st, 2021. We were discussing the status of that, I don't know the name of the building, so my apologies, but it's the small historical building that's located aside the middle schools on Hamlet Ave. At that time, the administration had told us that it was in the works and that the administration was looking at it to see if it could be renovated or demolished. And I haven't seen anything, so I wasn't sure where we were at. If indeed it was deemed that it needed to be, taken down, or if we're going to try to sell it, fix it, what we're doing with that building. Can anyone help me?
We have someone who looked at it about 2 weeks ago, and we're waiting to get a response from him to see if he has interest, and if he does, we'll be bringing it to the council.
Oh, so it is repairable. We're not going to demolish it. It's not beyond repair.
I didn't say that. All I'm saying is there's someone who's interested, and maybe to him, it is something that can be renovated, and maybe to us, it's not something we want to take on, so we'll wait to see what his interest level is.
So 2 weeks ago, someone looked at it? Great, thanks. 2 weeks ago. Okay. And the second item that I wanted to discuss was the status of the RFP. We put out an ordinance, second approval, back on 4/18 regarding improvements and upgrades to the skate park. And the deadline to submit the responses to that request for production to the City Council was May 16th. So I haven't seen anything, and I didn't know where we were at that on that RFP as well. It seems like we've already passed the deadline. Can somebody tell me what's going on with that?
I can just tell you, not much.
Why?
Busy, been very busy.
Okay, so we're disregarding ordinances because we're busy.
I didn't say we're disregarding an ordinance. I just haven't I haven't checked with the engineer, John Pratt, to see if he put out an RFP yet, quite frankly.
Well, that's going to be a problem. Okay, I got my answer. Thank you very much.
All set?
I am. Thank you very
Okay.
much.
Moving on to presentations of petitions, memorials, and remonstrances.
22P20, request of Vice President Ward to address the following items. 1, Cass Park Track and Field Planning.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I've actually got 7 items. Some of them I'll be skipping over because they were put there in case things didn't occur in our agenda. But on the matter of Cass Park, the track and field planning, I'm trying to remember if I got a response, but I had asked about how much we had spent on, or a record of how much we had spent so far in the several years now that we have been doing design or doing drawings or doing projections or things of that nature that we had paid to architects or engineers in doing work at Cass Park associated with the track and field planning, and I don't believe I've received a response yet. Do we have that compilation in the works somewhere?
Yeah, I can have John Pratt forward that information tomorrow.
I'll appreciate that. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. The second item I had was ARPA funds reporting by the administration, but we did get a report this evening, and I'm sure we'll be talking more about those in the near future, so I'll skip over that one. My third item is the Holly Spring property request for legislative control over uses and restrictions. And that one, I'm not really sure how to approach, and maybe I just want to bring it to everyone's attention, having walked the trail that some kind souls created for us up through the Holly Springs property. There is, I think, a value in having some sort of control placed over that property, and the possibility of discussing with the administration the possibility of developing an area for people to park their cars and access that park area. So I'll hope in the near future to start having conversations about how we might do that and where we might be able to provide funding to do it. The next item I had is the Splash Park opening. Director, I spoke with, or I communicated with you about the fact that whether or not the Splash Park was open. You indicated that there was an issue with a mechanical problem, that parts were being waited for. Do you have a sense for the public to know when they might be able to expect the Splash Park to open?
Sad, but like everything else in this country, things are just backed up. We ordered some parts. They didn't come in. There's also a computer problem with the main programming computer in that installation,
yeah.
And the company is in Canada called Vortex, and so we have an appointment with them. I believe it's this week
Okay.
to review it. So
The real holdup is the parts that need to be replaced that have not yet arrived.
I believe we're still waiting on one valve from the
Okay.
the company.
I just thought the public would have an interest in knowing.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm hoping to get it, hopefully maybe this weekend,
Very good.
but I can't guarantee that.
My fifth item was the Cannabis Act issues. Solicitor and the council president, I sent a memo that I had received related to the now passed Cannabis Act that calls for, I believe, action on the part of local communities if they are going to allow for sales to occur in their community, and it requires a referendum, I believe, in each community if we're to do that.
Yeah, I think maybe we should have a workshop on the effects of that act. There's different issues.
Is it a
that brings-
timetable that requires us to put something
Yeah, I think-
together for
yeah.
the November ballot?
You'd have to do it, I believe, sometime in August.
Oh, in August? Oh, you mean in order to get it on the ballot in
To get it on the
November?
ballot, we'd have to do it
Okay.
sometime in August. I could get the exact date that you need to
Well,
pass.
I just wanted to bring it up to make sure that we don't miss some deadline, because I knew there was a requirement for us to do a referendum associated with the question of whether or not we would opt out of participation or not. And it really
And
comes.
Councilman Ward, I had spoken with the solicitor about that, and we will
Okay.
put together the necessary work session, but there is more to it than just
Oh, I'm sure.
yay or a nay.
I'm sure there is. It's a rather complicated issue. My sixth item, Charter Review Commission appointments. I just wondered, Mayor, you had sent us an email back on February 10th saying you were looking to establish a Charter Review Commission and make appointments. I just wondered what the status of that was at this point, if anything at all.
Yes, I had all good intention, but quite frankly, we're just inundated and just have not gotten to it.
Okay, just,
So I do know that Councilman Canoyer indicated he would like to be on the commission, so I did make note of that. I do have a couple of other people who indicated that they would like to be on it. The solicitor and I began conversations about the hiring of an attorney to oversee the commission and the protocol that needs to take place to have that charter commission sit, make recommendations, and all the proper steps to move forward. So
Okay.
hopefully we'll be able to get to that soon.
good. Just thought I'd follow up on that. And the last item I put on my list is a misting station for Dunn Park. I had brought this up, and it was suggested that maybe the Housing Authority could do something, and when I drove by the Housing Authority property, I quickly realized that they really don't have any play areas for children. So I started doing some research, and I found what are commonly used misting stations that probably cost somewhere between $2,500 and $7,500, depending on what you buy. Fairly simple poles that run maybe 8 or 10 feet up, where you push a button and cool water comes out while it's turned on and available to the public in a park. And I don't think, with all of the things we've talked about with ARPA funds, and added to the list of things for possible consideration for ARPA funds, that what I asked for was such a heavy lift that it couldn't be arranged for out of a multitude of sources. And I'm going to ask again that it be considered, only because I think the children up in the Fairmount area are probably the ones that are least able to get to the splash park that we have down at World War II Veterans Memorial Park. And I just thought it would be beneficial to them to have, in the middle of the summer, just a small space where they could go push a button and cool themselves off with a spray of water that would be available to them. And I'm asking for consideration of that again sometime this year, so that they could have a benefit that they may not otherwise have available to them. And that's all I have, Madam Clerk. Thank you.
Thank you, Council President. I'd just like to
Mayor?
comment on that.
Sure.
So I like that idea. I think that they work well. It's enough to cool you down. My thought is, and I don't know what other thoughts are, but my feeling is that I think it's a conversation to have with the Woonsocket Housing Authority. I think it's beneficial for those to be within the area of the housing, so parents can monitor their children, because small children can benefit from those also. And if parents cannot go over to the park, then they're excluded from being there. I think I did drive through. I think there's enough space between the different sections of housing that they could actually scatter multiple units within those areas and keep it contained. So
I don't disagree that maybe it would be in their interest to do that. However, that excludes virtually the rest of the Fairmount neighborhood that would use our city park. That I was thinking would want to have access to. And again, for the nominal cost, maybe both places could have it.
yeah,
That's all.
possibly.
Okay? Thank you.
All set, Councilman?
Yes.
Pursuant to 42-46-6B, I would like to add the following item to the agenda for discussion purposes only, and that is stipend payments. Could I have a motion?
Motion.
Moved.
Motion made by Councilwoman Sierra, seconded by Councilman Ward, to add to the agenda for discussion purposes only. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. I requested and received a payment schedule for stipends that have been paid out to various city employees. And to say the least, it was startling, shocking, and I think it needs to be looked into at a much, much deeper level. I received that schedule and I will be forwarding it to the rest of the council tomorrow through the city clerk for your viewing. But I just wanted to let everyone know tonight that I will be posting a work session to discuss that item specifically because it is that important. And I unfortunately may not be able to keep it to a Monday night, but it's of such importance to me that I don't think we can wait. We've got a work session tomorrow evening. We have a work session next Monday. We have a regular meeting the following Monday, and I think that we can't just keep pushing it off. So I wanted to let everyone know I will do my best to accommodate schedules, but I will be finding it necessary to post another work session at a less than convenient and less than optimal time than a Monday. And I will be discussing that with people tomorrow, but that meeting will be posted and you will receive the schedule through the clerk tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Council President, can you just send a couple of dates to make certain that anyone who needs to attend does not have a conflict?
Yeah, and absolutely, yes. Moving back to the regular order of business, unfinished business of previous meetings.
22018, an amendment of Chapter 17 entitled Traffic of the Code of Ordinances, City of Woonsocket.
Motion approved, Jim.
Motion made by Councilman Canoia, seconded by Councilman Ward and Councilwoman Gonzalez. Comments?
Mr. President,
Councilman Gillette.
just curious as to why these ordinances are for specific streets and not for the entire city.
I'm not sure if you were here and what prompted this legislation, but we've had a significant problem there in that area for tractor-trailer trucks parking in that area, and it's been a significant problem. We've tried various other techniques to solve the problem, and this is the only conclusion that we think will be successful.
Okay, so, and you're saying that throughout the city, you're not seeing any of these problems, other than these areas?
We do have an ordinance in the city that regulates overtime parking, actually tractor-trailer parking overnight. However, that's not the case here. They're parking there in the daytime.
Okay.
Solicitor, can you brief Councilman Gillette on this situation since you've been handling this, the legal matter on this?
What issue is it that I can help you with, Councilman?
I'm just curious as to why it was specific streets and not the entire city.
Was another meeting.
This is the...
This particular ordinance?
Yes.
This is the one with the burns. Yeah. Yeah, this particular ordinance is addressing a problem that we have at an establishment on Burnside. So that's why it's very specific. There's trucks, trailer trucks, diesel fuel engines that are running and parking, and they're obstructing the throughway. So that's the impetus of this particular legislation.
And the rest of the streets, other than Burnside, are in that area, so that's why they're on here?
Yes.
Look, Councilman, just those particular streets are in connection to the single location that is having the problem.
That's what I just said.
So, yeah, no, so it was,
Yeah.
but I don't know that the solicitor knew how you were asking that. I just wanted, it's very specific to a particular problem.
Okay, I'm all set.
Yeah.
I just couldn't understand
Yeah.
why. Thank you very much for that.
Council President,
Councilman Ward.
I, doing what I do, looked it up, and in that found that there were, where did it go? Well, let me preface that statement. Our ordinance says this ordinance shall take effect on the 11th day, blah, 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 and all ordinances or parts of ordinances inconsistent herewith are hereby repealed. Within our ordinance, it says that parking will be prohibited at all time, Wood Avenue from Diamond Hill Road to Cass Avenue. It doesn't say easterly or westerly side, so it's presumed, I guess, that it's in the entire length of that street. Am I correct? And the reason I ask is because in looking through the Code of Ordinances, I find 4, 8, 11 separate already existing references to various locations where parking either is prohibited, and it's very specific in areas going back to 1947 all the way through 1996. Speaking about 100 feet northerly of such and such a street, and from this driveway to this address. And I guess my question is, if we are prohibiting, it almost seems as if this is designed to exclude parking in certain areas, which would mean that other areas of Wood Avenue, people are currently using it for on-street parking regularly, I assume. By writing this ordinance and saying we are prohibiting parking from Diamond Hill Road to Cass Avenue, which is the entire length of Wood Avenue, it doesn't say which side, therefore we have to presume that it's both sides. Are we simply saying that these 11 sections of the Code of Ordinances are now gone and replaced with this one section? And have we considered where there are locations deriving from these other ordinances that people currently use for on-street parking when it's not prohibited by weather? Director? Chief?
You can answer the location aspect, but from a legal point of view, as you probably know, this ordinance would supersede any ordinance in conflict with it. So if there's a large street and we cut out a section that said, you know, no parking with trailer trucks,
Right.
the section we cut out would be superseded by this. Anything else in existence would remain unless it's touched by the geographical boundary set up.
And I think in this case, the entire length of Wood Avenue from Diamond Hill Road to Cass Avenue has to touch all of these things because it's non-specific, and these are within the confines of Wood Avenue from Diamond Hill Road to Cass Avenue. So these disappear, and parking is prohibited for the entire street.
Councilman Ward, you do see it's just trailer trucks and buses.
That's it, yeah.
It's not vehicle, not cars.
He wasn't at the meeting either.
Tractor trailers, buses,
Those are
self-contained.
already, wait a minute, those are already prevented by other parts of our Code of Ordinances.
But not
I'm
on
sorry,
the
I really
streets.
wasn't paying attention to it because they're already prohibited.
Well, no, and you and I have had
On
this
any city
discussion,
street.
and I didn't, till you were just talking now, I only realized that it was going, that was further than what you thought, so.
You're correct. Okay, and maybe it's because it didn't even occur to me to even think that way, because all of these things are already prohibited from parking on our city streets already.
Well,
I know because I've filed complaints about them that haven't been addressed, but there are over 6,000 pounds is prohibited from parking on city streets overnight, at least overnight.
well, this came to us from public safety after analyzing the situation with that establishment that we're having enormous problems with, and we've been having those problems.
But they could have been ticketed now.
They could have what?
They could be ticketed under the current Code of Ordinances.
Well, this was suggested, and I think it's a good idea so we could have some
Okay.
teeth to it.
Fine, we'll repeat.
If I could,
I object. I strenuously object.
You're going to take a flamethrower to the place?
No. That's a different,
Chief?
that's a different movie.
yeah, no, if I could, what you're saying, we do enforce at night, and there are ordinances at night to do that. This specific problem is not during the nighttime hours, it's during the daytime hours. The change in this ordinance, specifically streets, speaks to tractor trailers, recreational vehicles, buses, those type vehicles, that the ones that are in problem. It doesn't change any of the ordinance. We had a discussion with the solicitor after your email to us, with the director, myself, the solicitor, and Captain Pickard, that went over this ordinance, and after speaking with the solicitor on his advice, this ordinance would only supersede areas that would affect this ordinance being in place. Anything else that's in place right now as far as parking regulations would remain in effect. So if you could park cars there legally during the day, you'll still be able to park cars there legally during the day.
Well, thank you for explaining what could have been emailed to me as a response to my question, but I appreciate it now. All set.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoia?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron.
Yes, and 22018 is approved. Second passage, 7-0.
22019, an amendment of the Code of Ordinances for calculation of payroll payments.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ward, seconded by Councilman Canoyer. Comments? Well, I will just say I had one phone call today regarding this particular ordinance. And Solicitor, I don't expect or prefer that you don't answer it right now, but if you could look into the legal aspect, the question that was asked of me is that people who have been underpaid in previous years, will there be a calculation to reimburse those employees for missed wages? And don't answer it now, if you can look into it and see if when the passage of this ordinance correcting the improper calculation, if we can have that answer provided to the Finance Department and to the council, so that if anyone else gets the same question, they can answer it as well. Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron.
Yes, and 22019 is approved, 7-0, second passage.
22020, amending Section 5 of the Ordinances 21075, an ordinance to designate use and budget for a portion of the first tranche of the City of Woonsocket's allotment or American Rescue Plan Act funds.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Ward, seconded by Councilman Canoyer. Comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron.
Yes, and 22020 is approved, 7-0, second passage.
22021, appropriation ordinance of the City of Woonsocket for fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2022 and ending June 30th, 2023.
Council President,
Councilman Canoyer.
as you referenced, I think we have a couple more meetings in the next week. So I'm going to make a motion to table the budget ordinances, ordinance 22021, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, and 29.
Motion made by Councilman Canoyer.
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Sierra to table the 9 ordinances relating to the budget for fiscal year 2023. Roll call, Madam Clerk, on a tabling, please.
Councilman Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron.
Yes, and 22021 through 22029 are tabled to the June 20th City Council meeting. Moving on to new business, Madam Clerk.
22030, authorization to sell property located at 357 Park Place, Woonsocket, Rhode Island, Plat 27, Lot 113.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Sierra, seconded by Councilman Gillette. Comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoyer?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron.
Yes, and 22030 is approved. First passage, 7-0.
22031, an ordinance to designate a budget and use of a portion of the City of Woonsocket's allotment of the American Rescue Plan Act ARPA funds.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilman Ward,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Canoyer and Councilman Gillette. Comments? Councilman Ward, can you just...
Council President, yes.
Thank you.
There was a request made by members of the Board of the Library Trustees. They informed me that there was a request made for this to be considered in their budget, and we're told that it would not be possible, and so it was suggested to them that they seek grant funds. And having that conversation, I asked Mr. O'Connell from Apex to give me find some pricing estimates for the replacement of the cameras at the library. As their budget stands, they can't afford to hire security personnel, So they have cameras on the perimeter of the building that are old and outdated and provide insufficient clarity. And so they had requested that those cameras be replaced with high definition and modern cameras. And I was informed that a reasonable estimate would be less than $15,000 to replace those cameras. And I thought it a very good use of ARPA funds. ARPA funds being a grant, it's a grant fund, that the library could use this to update their cameras and have a more secure facility and the ability to identify anybody that may be doing something inappropriate. So I would urge everyone to support this so that they can update their security system at the building.
Thank you very much. Any other comments?
Council President?
Mayor?
Yeah, question, Councilman Ward.
Yes.
Who said there was no money for that?
That would be the two people who were preparing the budget with the director when they asked about using ARPA funds or city budget funds, and they were informed by the people they met with from the administration that there were not funds available, and it was recommended to them that they seek out grants.
I don't agree with that. But just so you are aware, we are...
Then you should speak with your staff, because...
Don't worry. I just want to finish addressing the situation. So first of all, there are many things that we indicated could be utilizing, we could utilize ARPA funds for instead of putting them in the budget. That's what the ARPA funds are for. So I'm glad to see this ordinance. But certainly security is very important to us. And as the chief can and the director can attest to, we've actually been meeting with Apex regarding cameras, not only in other buildings, but in this building as well.
So you never said that to the library staff? That there were funds not available and they should seek out a grant?
Who are you looking at?
The staff that was doing the budget with them.
I know, well, you're pointing to somebody. I'm just asking
Mr.
who.
Luba? You didn't meet with the library staff? I'm all set. Thank you.
Yeah, we're all set too. Thank you.
Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoia?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
Yes.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susie?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
Yes, and 22031 is approved, 7-0.
22R70, authorizing the mayor through her administration to issue a request for a proposal to contract with a newspaper for the publication of all legal notices for the city of Woonsocket.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilwoman Sierra, seconded by Councilman Gillette. Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R70 is approved, 7-0.
22R71, granting permission to use city property.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilwoman Gonzalez,
Second.
seconded by Councilman Ward. Comments?
Just, Mr. President? Yeah,
Councilman
just for
Susi?
the public, this is for the annual dinner on the bridge, which is coming up in August. And again, they need permission to use that bridge.
Very good. Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R71 is approved, 7-0.
22R72, appointing Lisa M. Casafiero as a member of the Woonsocket Harris Public Library Board of Trustees.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Sierra, seconded by Councilman Ward. Comments? Well, I will simply say thank you once again to Mrs. Casafiero. She never hesitates to step up and help out, and this is another indication of her willingness to help her city. So I will obviously be supporting this. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R72 is approved, 7-0.
22R73, granting permission to use city property.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilman Ward,
Second.
seconded by Councilwoman Sierra. Comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and 22R73 is approved, 7-0.
22R74, granting permission to use city property.
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Councilman Ward,
Second.
seconded by Councilwoman Gonzalez. Comments?
Council President?
Councilman Canoia.
Just on this one, this is a request of Rebuild Woonsocket from Mr. Alex Kithis. I don't know if he or anybody's, his group is here, but I'm just curious. Is this an event to give speeches bashing elected officials of Woonsocket as transphobic, homophobic, etc., as has been the case in the past when we've had these type of events? Does anyone know?
Is there anyone here from this organization?
Okay.
There's not.
Council President?
Mayor?
I do want to make one comment. We did receive complaints through my office the last time that this park was utilized, and families were very upset because of the microphones were being used, and there was vulgarity and chanting of vulgarity and things of that nature with the children in the park. So I find that I need to bring that to your attention.
Well, thank you, and obviously, that's always inappropriate. It's unfortunate that we have to start lecturing adults on what's appropriate in front of children, but I guess that's what happens with some people. So I guess we can just say that we have to ask public safety to keep an eye on this and watch out for the children in the city. I don't know what more we can do. Any other comments?
Mr. President,
Councilman Gillette.
that's just what I was going to say. How about if we table it for a meeting with the organization?
Well, it's for June 11th.
Council-
So if we table it, it's beyond the,
Is there any way that we
Councilwoman
can
Gonzalez.
amend to include that there would be no use of profanity or vulgar langue?
I don't
I know that
I don't
it's a
really feel
request,
comfortable with
so-
that, because where does that end? I think we have to just hope that they're going to act like adults. I don't know what more you can say. I mean, Solicitor, aren't we crossing a fine line there if we start dictating what people can
You
say?
could put a police detail there. You could put a police detail,
And require them to pay for it, or?
or just do it at our, yeah, you could require them to pay for it. I don't know what financial means they have, but I was kind of far away from the mic. I guess he's not here tonight, so he didn't. Yeah, well, either that or we just order a police detail to make sure that everything goes smoothly and the neighbors aren't disturbed.
So
If the council feels that way, I guess the mayor feels that way, you know, however you want to handle it, but
I don't
That's what
think
you do
we,
when
I
you
don't
have
think we should have to be expending our taxpayer dollars to monitor the behavior of someone who's being granted a privilege of using our park.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's why I said it at their expense, but
you could put it at their expense if you want.
You're opening
I
up
don't know that they can
routes for
afford it.
everything.
Yeah, that-
I think,
My view is, look, we've had these events last couple of years, and as I said, the first one was billed as a, quote, celebration, and it was approved by the council 7-0, and it turned into a attack on the city council, the mayor, et cetera. Then we saw the same activity from the steps of City Hall down in Providence in the state's capital, and it happens over again. So my view is, I'm happy to support this. I have no problem with these type of things, but if the individual requesting it behaves the way he has the last several times, if I'm on here again, it'll be the last time, so.
So I'm just going to say this, if you review the
Director
charter,
D'Agostino?
the parks fall under my purview,
Yes.
and I'm uncomfortable with this event. So if it moves forward, it will not be with my blessing, so.
No, I understand. I will say this, though. I think the intended celebration is not the problem, and it's a good cause. It's unfortunately the organizers are the ones that have the reputation of being bad apples. So I hate to take away the celebration from the other good people that want to enjoy this because of a few bad apples. I'm reluctantly going to support it because I hope that the goodness outweighs the problems. But Chief, if you could just ask your offices if they hear of complaints, to let us know and address that immediately, but let us know for future events that are requested.
Council President?
Mayor?
Can you read Section 2, please?
Shall take effect upon passage by the City Council and is subject to any conditions that the Public Safety Department may impose and payment of all associated costs as determined by the Public Works applicant, by the Director of Public Works. Applicant will obtain a permit from the Recreation Director upon payment of fees.
So that very clearly states any conditions put upon by the Public Safety Director, any Public Safety Department, anything they impose, and payments associated determined by the Director of Public Works. So you're not prohibited from having oversight there at their cost.
What would you recommend then? Let's just, if you want to have something, I can ask somebody to make an amendment for what you'd like to see happen. I'm uncomfortable starting to impose details again because it's one or two bad apples and not, hopefully not the group that is organizing. It's the organizers, not the organization.
Council President?
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
So basically, if we pass this, we're basically putting it in the court of the Public Safety Director and the Director of Public Works. That, because it says both of them, it says the Public Safety Department and the Director of Public Works. So whatever is imposed would be determined by the people who have already seen, worked with them. We're just merely just saying, what I'm saying is that approving this resolution would basically just give you the freedom to do what you feel is necessary to do. Correct?
Yeah.
So just, yeah, I would be in support of this. I actually like that we have a Section 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. President?
Good point. Councilman
Just a
Susi.
quick question. Is that Section 2 always included on these
Yes.
agreements? It is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, if you look back at the other two,
The other one for the bridge.
Yeah, cool.
Same thing. It's always on there.
Awesome.
Not picking on anyone.
No, we don't want to have that.
No,
impression,
no.
so, yeah. Yeah.
all right. Any other comments? Hearing none, let's do a roll call, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Canoia?
Yes.
Councilwoman Gonzalez?
Yes.
Councilman Gillette?
No.
Councilwoman Sierra?
Yes.
Councilman Susi?
Yes.
Councilman Ward?
Yes.
President Gendron?
Yes, and 22R74 is approved 6-1.
22R75, authorizing the settlement of certain claims of Chateauclair RIH LLC.
Motion to approve?
Motion made by Councilwoman Sierra,
Second.
seconded by Councilwoman Gonzalez and Councilman Ward. Comments?
Council President,
Councilman Ward.
just want to point out to the public, among the many things that we have settled, that this one in particular, and please, Solicitor, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I read this, it says that this property was overtaxed in the amount of $283,923.60, which will be translated into credits to the owners that
Yes,
they
going
can,
forward.
going forward, that they can apply or sell.
Yes.
To other
Yes,
parties.
Obviously, it runs with the property, but they own it now. It's not the other situation we had, the last settlement, they didn't own it anymore. So this, we could do credits.
Okay. Just wanted the public to be aware. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. And 22R75 is approved 7-0. Being that there's no further business, Councilman Ward?
Motion to, what is it? Adjourn.
Motion made by Councilman Ward, seconded by Councilman Gillette to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and we are adjourned at 7:50 on a 7-0 vote. Have a good night, everyone.